Today, I want to talk about how to understand narcissism more fully by making a distinction between your public persona and your shadow self. Now, we all maintain a certain persona when we engage with one another, whether it's even within your family or your friendships and social life, your place of business, and how you interact with people in public, and that's a normal kind of thing. Then we also each have what we call a shadow self. And the shadow self is all that's going on deep down on the inside of your personality that is the full and complete picture of you. And it's a mixed bag. It has many facets. Down on the inside, we each have strengths. We also have accompanying weaknesses. We can have fears. We can sometimes feel confident. There are times that we feel insecure. There are times when we struggle with shame or guilt or uncertainty. We've made blunders. We've had successes. And there are all sorts of things roaming around on the inside of our personalities that make up the full self. Now, narcissists have such a strong need to maintain image control. They want to be in control. They want to be in the entitled position. They have to be superior. They want to have favored treatment. That they're deeply committed to their public persona to the extent that they bury the shadow self, and the shadow self in their mind hardly even exists. And yet there are times when it's interesting how it can pop out and show itself and kind of peek out and say, I'm still here. I mean, as a simple example, let's suppose that you receive a phone call from a telemarketer and you don't like what they have to say, and so you yell at the telemarketer because nobody else is looking. That's your shadow self sneaking out. You have your public persona that you want to maintain where you're nice and pleasant, but then something comes along and boom, this inner conflict shows up. Where was that? It's been there all along. It's part of who you are. We each have those kind of propensities. Now, the narcissist in particular has a great discrepancy between the public and the private, the shadow part of who they are. And there are 5 keys that I want to go through that will help you understand what's going on inside that narcissistic individual so that you can know them more thoroughly and appreciate what's going on inside of them. So let's take a look at them. First and foremost, when we talk about the narcissist and their public persona versus their shadow self, the narcissist's public persona typically is outside reality. Narcissists, even though they try to portray themselves as being all together and the one that has all the answers, they come on way too strong in that category. They like to create the illusion that they know everything. That's not reality. No, you don't. Or they like to create the illusion that they're certain about so many things. Well, sometimes there's just doubt, and that's okay to say that. Or they create the illusion that they're better than, or that they don't need to hear from you. All of that is non-reality. Reality says you don't know everything, and that's okay. You have fears, as evidenced by the fact that you can be very defensive. You have fears. Just admit it and be honest about it. And it's like, no, I can't do that. That's what the narcissist says. Or you have hidden inadequacies. You have the need for guidance and advice from other individuals. Just be honest about it. Be open. And the narcissist is like, no, I'm not that reality based. I'm not going to do that. Their public persona is something that's it's just their portrayal of just a false version of what they really are. In addition, number 2, the narcissist's public persona loves to hide behind symbols of power. Now, just kind of as a side note on this, I want you to notice in our cultures how many entertainment themes we have that emphasize aggression and power and control, whether it's in our sports and our movies and our television programs. We applaud those who are the baddest and the meanest and the toughest. What's going on there? Well, so many of us want to feel like there are people out there that overcome all of the negatives in life, and they are able to compensate for hidden weaknesses. The narcissists, they eat up these themes of power. And notice that narcissists tend to have a very natural propensity towards anger and bullying, or they want to exact revenge when people don't do what they want. They have to come across in a strong way, so they'll shame other individuals or they'll belittle them and do the name calling. The public persona of the narcissist says, it's all about power, baby, and that's what I'm going to do. Whereas the shadow self down there in their own lives, it's like they many times they feel very powerless about life. It's like, I am not about to go in and access those kind of feelings. They just hide behind the themes of power. A third key to understanding the narcissist and their shadow self is that their public persona ultimately is going to be temporary. You'd like to say to the narcissist, you can't just keep up this image forever. It's partial. It's incomplete. Your image that you project is dishonest. It's phony. It's fragile. And sometimes it's even a joke. Just be straightforward. What you're trying to portray yourself as is not going to hold up over the course of time. Eventually, it's going to be shown. In addition, number 4, as we try to understand a narcissist, a shadow self versus public persona, we're going to say that their public persona ultimately is enslaving for themselves. Once that narcissist commits to a certain persona and they refuse to look at what lies inside their shadows, they become enslaved by it. And in fact, it's like they're living with a certain addiction. No, I have to be the best. I have to be the most powerful. And part of the notion of addiction is you have to have more and more of the same ingredient to give you the desired effect. They just keep going back over and over and over to those themes of dominance to the extent that they're not free. They're confined by their own difficulties and strains and tensions to the extent that they are unable to get away from the cage that they've put themselves in by having this false persona. In addition, number 5, the public persona of the narcissist ultimately collapses. We can look at the narcissist with all of their power and all of their shame and anger and defensiveness and say, you just can't keep this up forever. People are going to be on to that, and they're going to eventually say, enough is enough. And so the narcissists have ongoing relationship difficulties. They have ongoing emotional duress. They wind up having lots of bitterness. And you can look at that person and say, well, how's all that working for you? You see, when you commit so deeply to a public persona that you hide all that lies inside the shadows, you become a caricature of yourself. There's just a shell of what you really are, and you just simply can't move forward with any kind of expectation of healthy interactions. So if we're going to break through this whole with this whole problem of the shadow self versus the public persona, there are 2 words that we need to focus on most intently. And those 2 words are, get real. Come out of the shadows. Stop trying to pretend that you're somebody that you're not. Admit what's down on the inside of you. Make conscious what you are trying to keep subconscious. Accurately read the meaning of your emotions or your attitudes or your reactions or your behaviors. Just be straightforward and honest about what's going on inside of you. And it's okay to say words like, I struggle. I'm just like the rest of you who struggle. Narcissists have a real hard time with that. Or it's okay to say, I feel confused. I feel inadequate. I feel fearful. You can say that. It's okay. Or I carry scars from feeling rejected. I can't just blame everyone else for all of my problems. At some point, I have to take responsibility for who I am. I have carried shame. I need some help. My anger can sometimes get the best of me. I'd like to figure out why that is, and I want to do something from the inside out to make that different. I want to be loved. I'm afraid that I won't be loved. I want to feel like I matter. I push people away when I don't know what to do with the diversity that they represent. I don't know what to do with differentness. I need some help there. Many times I'm selfish. I know that my need for control represents the feeling of, or the fear of being out of control. You know, it's time for me to get my head into reality. Narcissists are so committed to their public persona that they cannot go into their interior and look at what's lurking inside their shadows. And as a result, all of the confusion and strain and difficulty that's inside the shadows actually becomes dominant on a subconscious kind of level, and they don't grow. They don't learn. So let's underscore. Growth and healthiness begins with just being honest about what lies beneath your personality in your shadows. And unfortunately, narcissists have a great difficulty being that honest. Now, I'm hoping that as you examine your public persona versus what's inside your shadow self, that you can learn to try to bring those two together as much as possible. Now, you can't tell everybody everything that's on the inside of who you are, but I'm hoping that you can invest with certain key people so that your shadow self is not going to be dominant like it is with the narcissist. And in doing so, you can be distinct from that narcissistic individual by having a sense of honesty, authenticity, genuineness, and then ultimately steadiness in your own personal life. Don't expect that to happen with the narcissist, but at least learn from what's going on with them so that you don't get caught in their same trap. Now, I do hope that videos such as this will give you some good insight and perspective into your own life. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey. If you've not already done so, I would encourage you to go beneath the video here and hit that subscribe button. We'll keep more videos coming your way. If you need counseling and if you have some counselors available in your own immediate area where you live, I would encourage you to seek that out. If you don't have that availability, or if you prefer online counseling, we've vetted a group that can assist you in that regard, and we have a link below where you could seek individuals out with online counseling. We also have our website, survivingnarcissism.tv, drlescarter.com. We have links below to my online video workshops. We have a library that has our books in it, tons of stuff down there. You can have coffee mugs. I want you to have a sense that says, I want to be a real person. I don't want my shadow to be so dominant in a subconscious way that it takes me into a direction I don't want to be. That being the case, I'm hoping that you can commit to openness. I'm hoping that you can have good accountability people in your life. And in doing so, I'm hoping that will take you down the path that you need to go towards so that you can find your own peace.